I need you to hate so I can use you for your energy.
This is Real Sales Talk. Real sales advice from real sales practitioners. Giving you tips on how to dominate your sales quota are your co-hosts, Sean Mitchell and Phil Keen.
We don't have a process for referrals at most companies. I go into a company, I say, what's your referral process? They have no, well, what do you mean?
I think that goes back to the premise that why do salespeople suck at prospecting? I mean, number one reason why they suck at prospecting is they don't actually do it.
If you are successful and nobody knows, in 2016, 20, 2025, you're not successful.
You ever want to find out what's going on in the company? Get in the car and spend a day with the top 3 salespeople. You'll find out in 5 minutes.
Because you can't be a trusted advisor without two things, trust and advice. I mean, you need both of them.
What's going on, everyone? It's Real Sales Talk Season 5, Episode 9, and we've got Dave Gerhardt on the line from Drift. He's the Director of Marketing, and today's topic is going to be a first for Real Sales Talk, I think. It's going to be all about lead response times and how faster typically tends to be better. Dave, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on. I had to turn the camera around because my posters aren't as good as yours, but I wanted to give people something to look at other than my face during this interview. So
totally. I like the always be learning. Always be learning. Yes, that's a good one. So as I mentioned, the topic for today is going to be about lead follow-up, the timing of lead follow-up and response. I know that drift is going to be a topic that we talk about fairly often. So I'd like for you to just give a little bit of an introduction about drift, as well as some of the things that you personally are doing at the company too.
Yeah, so Drift is a sales communication platform, and we help businesses and sales teams book more meetings and close more deals using messaging. So basically, built around the whole idea that people like you and I, we don't love to go to websites and fill out forms and get nurtured and get followed up. But sales teams don't really have the tools that they need to respond to people in real time. So that's what we've built at Drift, and really focus on that. And that's obviously why we came up with this study. But happy to talk through some of those learnings and the stuff that we found.
Yeah, I think it's a really good one. Talk a little bit about how this research came about, because there's an interesting story behind the idea of this particular article, which we'll also link up in the show notes.
Yeah, so the idea was, we saw this stat, and it's from Harvard Business Review and InsideSales.com, and we had been quoting it all the time, just talking about how the best time to respond to a new lead is within 5 minutes. If you respond within 5 minutes, the chances of qualifying that lead go up 10x. They decrease 10x, right? If you minute 6, 10x decrease. And then if you wait 10 minutes, then it goes down 400%. So those are just big numbers of basically telling you you have to respond to new leads instantly if you want to qualify them. And then I was just thinking of wait a second, the way that we buy things online happens in real time, but I can't remember ever getting a response instantly. And personally, we started running webinars, monthly webinars at Drift a couple months ago. And they had become popular enough that I had to upgrade our webinar software. And so the company that I was using for webinar software, they already had my credit card. I was already a customer, and I went to the website, and my only call to action to upgrade was to call them. And I was like, are you kidding me? It's 2017. I can't just send you a message and say, can you add another seat to my account? And that got me thinking, and so I ended up, long story short, is I ended up, I literally Googled webinar software, found the next vendor. It happened to be Zoom, and ended up buying that. Same exact price, same exact features, but the biggest difference was I went to their website, they got back to me instantly. And then sure enough, 2 weeks after that webinar, now I can't shake that sales rep from the first company. They're just following up. Can I get you to upgrade? Just following up. I'm like, you already missed your chance. And so, I know that that's something that we feel personally every day. But then we all go to our jobs in sales and marketing, and we basically use the tools that fuel that approach. And so we wanted to look into that and see, are people really responding within that 5-minute window, or is this just a stat that is out there?
I think that's a massive missed opportunity for this other company that lost your business, because who knows what was going on? Maybe that lead only went to one person, and that person was traveling. Or
Yeah.
I mean, I think you said in the article that it took 2 days for that
2
person
days.
to
I
reach
had
out.
already
Correct?
done the webinar. But like, the thing is like, that's not, I think that the thing that I want to stress, like, that's not a knock on that team, right? Like, we're humans. We're all like, there's no way there's no way most teams are doing this, right? You're just not going to be, it's not realistic, especially if you're in sales, to just sit at the computer all day and just wait for new leads to come in. Like, you would never get anything done. But I think that's really speaks to like the shift in technology that needs to happen, is like, consumers expect you to be there real time today. I saw this great quote the other day. It was like, we spend all of this time and effort getting people to our website, and because we want them to engage with our business. But once we actually get them there, it's too expensive. Nobody has the time. Like, nobody actually wants to do it. And that was like, that was so right. That really hit me. So,
so this Zoom earned your business because they were able to engage with you. How did they reach out to you initially? Was that by phone, or was that by some other means?
No, I reached out to them. We already had a free account, so I just sent them a quick note and said, "Hey, I need to upgrade. I need this many seats," and we got it done within 30 minutes.
And did you talk with a representative by phone?
I didn't have to physically talk to anybody.
Okay, so they
No
won
phone.
your business just because the ability to facilitate what you were looking for faster, and this was done inside of your account. Could you have upgraded, like logged in and made the upgrade yourself, or did someone actually have to flip the switch?
Somebody here already had an account, and so they were able to just add me to that. And the same thing happened with the other company. Regardless of the actual process, it was just like, it didn't make it any easier for me to give them more money.
Totally. Yeah. Why create obstacles?
Exactly.
Whether that's putting credit card information in, or whether that's getting an answer to a question, and you're in that preliminary stage of investigating a product.
Yeah, and the big thing is like, sales teams still rely on phone and email more than anything else. But as people, we're all using messaging every single day, and so like, the 30 minutes that I'm going to spend with you on this podcast will probably be the least that I will have been on Slack the entire day, right? That's like how I run my day to day, and I have iMessage on my MacBook, and like literally the only time that I use the phone is my mom called me 20 minutes ago, or my wife is going to call me later. Like that's it. Otherwise, if I don't know who you are, I'm not answering the phone. And I totally get outbound sales. Like, trust me, we do outbound as well here at Drift. But the bigger point is like, 5 to 10 years ago, the biggest question in marketing was like, how do we take advantage of the internet, and how do we get people to our website, right? And the questions that people were asking then were like, how do I rank in Google? How long should my email subject line be? What's the best time to send an email? How often should I be posting on Twitter and LinkedIn? And like, nobody's sitting around asking those questions anymore. But even though we figured out internet marketing, like a good conversion rate, if you go to any CMO, VP of marketing, they'll be like, we have a 5% conversion rate on our website. And I'm like, you're proud of that? Like, that's a good thing. So 95% of the people who you spent money driving to your site didn't ever engage with your business. Like, there's gotta be a better way.
Totally. And so where do you see chat coming into lead response time, whatever level of qualification that is for that lead? I mean, whether it's preliminary or whether that person has done a lot of research and is ready to dive deep. Where does chat come into it, and how does that influence that conversation?
Well, the first thing is like, chat is kind of, how many letters is chat? CHAT, 4 letters, right? And that's kind of been a dirty word in sales. Like, most sales teams have hated chat because what ends up happening is you have chat on your website, people are going to just ask you support questions, and no sales rep in their right mind wants to sit around. Advances in technology with bots and AI and machine learning, whatever buzzword you want to use, it's true. Bots can be integrated into chat and actually help proactively answer questions for you. And so, that's the big thing that we've been focused on at Drift, is like, all right, we get it. sales reps don't want to do this, but how can we help filter them? How can we help filter the right conversations? And so the bots can proactively basically take all your qualifying questions and proactively qualify somebody. So ask them the same questions that you might ask them on the phone or like doing, cold prospecting, but let's get those questions answered. And then, and if only you hit a certain criteria, then we'll connect you to a sales rep and say, hey, this person is worth your time over chat because they're doing this much in revenue. They're from this industry. They're in this role. This is like the buying cycle. And so that's been the biggest, advancement in chat, and just the ability to route people to the right members on your team. And so if you come to the website and you say, hey, do you guys integrate with Slack? You can really quickly with a bot troubleshoot it. Is that a sales question or is it a support question? You can either route them to sales or route them to support.
I think that's great. And just because I'm personally curious, does Drift support that initial bot qualification process?
Yeah, so there's a couple that we do, and there's a couple different things that we do with bots right now. So the most basic version is routing, and routing is just you would log into your Drift account and you would set up roles for different people on your team, right? And this could be at a very high level, like the bot could say, hey, do you want to talk to sales or marketing or support, right? And you can assign people to those roles, and the bot will route people. Or if you wanted to really go deeper and say sales, but this territory, or sales, but this type of account, right? Maybe a more technical sales. So you could even route that way. The other thing that we did is, this is actually a pain that we felt firsthand, was we noticed that people were coming to our website and asking, and this happens to my guess is probably every business, is like they come to your website and people ask, the 80-20 rule applies to everything. They usually ask like the same 5-10 questions. And we were like, we already had the answers to these questions written either on our website on different pages or as help docs. And so we were like, why can't the bot just go grab the links to those things and give them to people? And so now if somebody comes to our website and they say, hey, do you guys have an iOS app? The bot in 1 second will go and grab that link and say, yep, here's a link to our iOS app. And then on the heels of that, the most recent thing that we built is the ability for we call it lead bot, and the bot can qualify somebody in real time. So you can give the bot all of your probing questions, your lead qualification questions, and you can say like if you go to our pricing page, drift.com/pricing, the bot is on that page, and it's going to ask you 5 or 6 questions before it would connect you to a sales rep. And so not only would you not get connected to a sales rep if you're not qualified, but then when you actually get to a human, that human already has all the information. So I don't have to spend time being like, what's your role? How many people are at your company? And all those questions.
That's cool.
And the last thing on that is like the conversational experience that happens in a second versus like giving somebody a form with 12 fields and all of them are required.
Right. Yeah. So I want to go back to this idea of why organizations in sales departments might be resistant to this idea of chats. I think for a long time, the golden standard or the golden cow of sales has been to always get them on the phone. However, if in this instance where you reached out to this, your existing provider, your vendor for webinars, and they weren't available until 2 days later, they've then missed this opportunity. So even though it is ideal for to get someone on the phone because you can understand things like tonality and in many cases facial expressions, even though it's just over the phone. I think that chat is becoming more and more of a must-have for an organization because of what you just experienced recently, which is there was this wait time. And if you had something like a chat, you'd be able to get someone who is available almost immediately, or in your case with Drift, a bot that is exchanging information, asking questions, and essentially pre-qualifying that person.
I think about, there's kind of 2 things that I thought about while you were saying that. Is like, number one, you as a sales rep, yes, you want to get somebody on the phone, right? But they probably don't want to get on the phone with you, right? Until now, if this is a real pain that I have and I actually need some help as a consumer, hell yeah, I'll get on the phone. I want to talk when I'm ready to talk. And so I think it starts with understanding that behavior. The other point of that is like, you're just going to be able to respond, much quicker. And so here's an example. So Danielle is one of our sales reps at Drift, and this just happened last week. She was doing cold prospecting, sending outbound emails, and one of the VP of marketing that she was prospecting, he didn't reply to her email, but he clicked on the link to her signature, which takes her to her Drift profile, which has chat on it, and he replied to her in real time and sent her a chat message. And he said, "Hey, Danielle, saw your email. I'm free right now. Can you get on the phone?" And
Cool.
so instead of replying to the email, she chatted with this guy. They never even booked a time. They just hopped on the phone in real time. And like that to me was just like, why should that person wait until Danielle is available next, or like when they can agree to a time? This is just, people expect answers in real time. And like, I think just as consumers, we all know if I go to your website and I can't find out what I want, like there's something wrong there. We just all expect to be able, because the internet, this is like the last,
Totally.
20 years that we've lived in. If I can't go to your website, I can't find your pricing, I can't find, how to contact you, I can't find some basic information, then like I'm going to leave and go to the next person.
Yeah, I agree. I think that there should be real-time responses. So I think there's a couple of types of people. I think personally, I like to get someone on the phone because I feel like I can get the answers quicker. I'm not as inclined to go chat, although as I say that, I was actually on chat yesterday with Tesla asking a question that I had about a particular issue I was seeing with the in-car maps. So I think I prefer phone first, but I know there's lots of people, probably yourself and many others, that don't really want to mess with the phone, and they want to be able to type something out and because they feel like it's more comfortable. So I mentioned that to say that I think you need to be both. You need to be all things to all people in how they prefer to engage with you, whatever that is.
It's just you're exactly right. It's not doesn't have to be a replacement. It's just a third leg of the stool that you need to add today. And it's just like, if you only use chat, would that be the most effective playbook? Probably not, right? But if you layer on phone, email, and chat, well, now you have all of the angles to get somebody, and you're going to be there. There's always going to be that person who just wants to hop on the phone, and that's great, right? But what about the 95% of the other people that come to your website and don't want to do that? How can you be there?
Talk a little bit about, because I think that's at least from an anecdotal perspective, I think that chat is very much it's a generational difference. Can you talk a little? Do you have any insight into the age differences in people who do you find that younger people gravitate more towards chat versus phone?
Yes, but there's some great data on this. I have it in a deck that we give. It's from Andrew Warner from Mixergy, and younger demographics spend more time on messaging, but the surprising thing was how much of the older demographics are now shifting to spend just as much time in messaging as email. Yeah,
I mean, for the reason that we talked about before, it's instant, right? I mean, so where my thought process goes in that, I guess that's where the bot comes in. I was just thinking, well, let's say it's after hours, sales department has gone home. Is that where the bots come in? Because there are some times, like let's say it's the middle of the night, VP of sales is looking for some solutions. Everyone's going to be sleeping or not available in the office. How does chat kind of address that issue?
Yeah, so the number one thing is like the biggest misconception about chat is that just because it is real time doesn't mean that it has to be real time. And so there is basically, in a way mode that you can set. But you can still have that messaging interface. So even though you're away, if somebody comes into the site, it's just going to say, like, set expectations that look like a person isn't here right now, but I might be able to help answer 2 or 3 questions for you. And then if you're a sales rep, that means like, oh my God, you walk into work the next day and you find out that the VP of sales at Oracle was like poking around on the website last night and left you an email. That's like amazing. You were sleeping and you generated a lead, right? Don't tell your boss, because your boss might try to replace you with that bot, but like, you get to be like, this is amazing. And so that's really the biggest opportunity is like your team is only going to work 9 to 5 or whatever, 9 to 6 and whatever the hours are. But, technology has gotten so good today that you're still able to generate leads, through those other, the 5 to 9 hours. And you don't have to just rely on like hoping somebody fills out a form while you're sleeping.
Yeah, totally. So we're going to do a couple of things here. Let's kind of continue the conversation and wrap it up here in the next 5 minutes, and then we're going to go into a little rapid fire at the very end that we've been doing just for our YouTube listeners. So let's just kind of circle back around here. So I think that in regards to lead response time, faster is better. Would you agree?
No doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the reason why is, I mean, the story that you told, if you would have gotten a faster response from your old vendor for webinars, they probably would have been able to keep your business. Am I right?
Totally. And right now I'm trying to book our first conference, and I'm going around to different conference venues in Boston. And I don't want to like keep pushing this on my to-do list. I want to go to the website and I want to get a response right now. And so I just think of how that behavior is. And like, sure enough, what's going to happen is I'm going to fill out a form. 2 days from now, when I'm in the middle of something else, this person's going to respond to me. And that's how we're going to have this conversation. Like that works, but I could have already booked a venue basically.
I love it. I love it. It's top of mind. You're thinking about it right now. You're in the middle of working on that particular thing.
Yeah.
You should be able to get a response, your answer back while you're working on that particular project.
Yeah, just give me something. It doesn't have to be a real person. It doesn't have to be the most customized thing. It's just like, how can you acknowledge that you got my thing, and like when you're going to respond to me, and maybe even provide some helpful context right now.
100%. 100%. Where can we talked a lot about this article? Where can people go to find it?
Yeah, so it's on our blog, blog.drift.com/lead response survey. Just Google's pretty amazing. Just Google Drift lead response survey. And, just if I can mention one more thing on this, the biggest thing for me was, 5 minutes is the magic window, but basically nobody's responding within that 5-minute window. But over 50%, the number was 55% of companies didn't even reply to me within 5 days. And
that's
now
insane.
It's insane. And I know like maybe there's some lead scoring rules. I didn't hit a certain threshold behind the scenes, but like to me, we did all this in the middle of the day, right? And so if somebody comes to your website during business hours and says, I want to talk to sales, and there's nothing, like to me, that's just like incremental revenue waiting for you. And so the easiest way to beat your number and, go above and beyond your quota and get those, accelerators to kick in is like by cleaning up on some of that incremental revenue. And the point is just like, there's so much of it sitting out there. Right now, we're only talking to the 5% of people who fill out a form on our websites.
So did you track when you did this research, did you track who called, who responded back by phone, by email, and by chat?
Yeah, we did. I don't know the breakdown off the top of my head, but so funny thing is that of the 433 companies, the 10 fastest response times were all companies using chat, right? Not surprising. I might have been 14%, whatever. Overwhelmingly, like at least 80-90% of those companies did not have chat on their website at all.
Yeah. So I mean, I think the lesson here is get chat if you want to respond immediately to people who are on your website, who actually have questions and interested in your product.
Yeah, like the example that we use all the time is like you do all this effort. You open a brand new store, or you open your store, and you finally get people to your store. And when they walk in your store, nobody is there to greet them. That's the experience today online. There's just an empty store, and there's like a little book in the back left corner of the room. There's like a dusty little book, and you can like write your name on it, and somebody will follow up with you later. Especially now, the thing that I think about all the time is like all these companies are doing account-based marketing, and they're just driving people to forums. Like You're targeting people at these target accounts. These are your high value leads. These are the people you really want to be giving the VIP treatment to. You want a red siren to flash when they're on your website. And I finally get you to my website and I go, cool, here, fill out this form.
Yeah. We'll get back to you whenever.
Yeah. What do you mean? Like, this is the person. This is the most important thing of your day. This is what you should be responding to right now.
So do you advise companies in that particular scenario where you've driven them to a specific landing page or squeeze page to, in addition to form, incorporate chat or only chat? What do you recommend?
That's a great question. You're a smart you're a smart man. So like obviously the full plunge would be just chat, right? But I think the big thing is like it's just add it as a second net in addition to your current website. So like if I covered up Drift on any website, it would look like every other B2B website in the world, right? There's a form, there's a video, there's a headline, like, you know, you can click on a CTA, but just by adding that second net, which is messaging and chat on your website, that's where all those incremental leads and revenue start to come from. So like you could go all the way in, or the easiest thing is just add chat, you know, start using that as a channel, and you're basically fishing with two nets instead of one. I don't know a ton about fishing, but that just feels like it'd be a better approach.
Yeah, totally. Cool. Okay, so we're gonna wrap up and then enter into some rapid fire questions here. So how can people find Drift, and how can people connect with you if they like what you're talking about?
Yeah, sure. So Drift is just drift.com. And you can connect with me if you go to team.drift.com/Dave. That's my personal page. You can leave me a message, send me a note there. And then I love Twitter. I'm always on Twitter. So
Can you chat on your page? That's a big question.
Yeah, you can. You can click you can actually schedule a meeting with me too, right on that page.
Awesome.
So you can chat with me on that page. I'll get a notification on my phone, or just hit me up on Twitter at Dave Gerhardt on Twitter.
Sweet. Awesome, man. It's been really, really great to chat with you. I've enjoyed getting to know you a little bit more, and Drift. I mean, I've heard about you, but I'm more sold on this idea than I ever have been. So thanks for coming on the show. Let's get into some rapid fire for our YouTube content here. Okay, so you ready, Dave?
I'm ready.
All right. So who would you say, who are the one or two people that you would say are your heroes, or people that you really look up to and admire?
Wow, that's a good question. So most of the people that I admired growing up were in the sports world. But lately I've been going back and studying a lot of like old school marketing and just kind of personal wellness. And so I'll give you two people. One of them on the marketing side is David Ogilvy. His book is just like, it sits on my desk, just always is there for inspiration. It's super helpful. What's inspiring to me about those guys is like they had to physically mail you something. They had to send it to your house in an envelope and get you to give them money via the mail. And like that's the truest test of sales and marketing ever. And so if you're looking to get, you know, better at copywriting, better at marketing, and even just better at selling in general, like go and read those guys. The other one is somebody I just got into recently is a guy named Jim Rohn, Rohn. He's basically the inspiration for any of these motivational like people that you see today, Tony Robbins and all that. And he has an amazing book. It's like 200 pages long. It's like the 7 Secrets to Wealth and Happiness, or I forget the title. And it's just, you know, going through and reading this book that was published in like the early 1980s, just like you just find yourself nodding at everything. And so those are two guys that have specifically been inspirations to me lately. And
That's great.
They're both dead. They're both dead. So
yeah, I'll definitely link those up in the show notes as well, in case people want to buy the book or buy the audio book.
Yeah.
When you wake up in the morning, what's the one thing or kind of overarching thing that gets you excited about your day, or pumps you up to go into Drift and just crush it?
Yeah, so I actually, first thing I do in the morning is I go to the gym. I've been doing that for I've worked out my whole life, but I recently 3 years ago shifted to be a morning workout person. And that's just completely changed my energy, my what I need to get done that day. And when I get the workout done, I'm walking into the office and my mentality is like, the hardest part of my day is already over, right? And I'm just getting started at work. And so that's just completely shifted the balance of my day. So to me, it's, I wake up and I get excited to go hit the gym. And like, I also find myself like a lot of my, good ideas and just clarity for work happens during that time. And then I can, I come into Drift and get stuff done, hopefully.
Awesome. That's great. Okay. So last question here. What are some of your favorite apps right now, either on your phone or on your desktop? But what apps are you really digging that kind of help you maximize your day?
All right. This isn't a maximize my day app, but I'm going to tell you that I am off Snapchat.
Okay.
I'm all in on Instagram stories.
Yes.
So you can catch me on Instagram. My profile is open. I've been loving Instagram stories. So that's the app that I've been out there shamelessly promoting everywhere, telling people that I'm not on Snapchat anymore. Instagram stories is where it's at.
I love it more than Snapchat. I think it seems fun.
Telling you, it's more fun. The barrier for like getting new followers and friends and contacts is way lower. Anybody can follow you on Instagram. And it's just, it's the app that it's a feature in an app that I'm already using. And so that's made it super easy.
If there's one standout feature for me personally with Instagram stories, it's the boomerang option for stories. It's just fun. I don't know why, but I just really like it. So, people that follow me on Instagram stories, they'll see a lot of boomerangs.
That's good. I'm gonna have to follow you. I might have to do a little like Instagram story while I'm doing this interview.
Totally. I think. Absolutely. Cool, man. Well, this has been phenomenal. You've given me and our listeners something to really think about. Lead response time is key. Within the first 5 minutes is absolutely key, whether you're doing it by following up by phone or email and chat, which is, I think, this new up and coming resource to be able to get people the information that they need in real time. So go check out Drift. Go check out the article that we've mentioned. It'll be in the show notes. And Dave, it's been a pleasure to get to know you. Thank you.
And thank you for having me. This was a lot of fun. You're a great host. I appreciate being on the show.
Absolutely, man. We'll talk to you soon.